Hi everyone, my name is Javier, and I'm just going to briefly talk about my testimony, the moment that I believe I gave up all hope and put all my hope in Jesus. I lost all hope in everything, but especially myself, and it came about due to my desire for mating. Um, at the time, this happened this year in January 27. I thought I was already a Christian for a little over 2 years. I thought I was already saved and with the Lord. And I think I might have been, but I was operating as a self-righteous fake Christian. I was trying to be morally perfect, like how people might try to be under the law. It was miserable. But anyways, at the time that this happened, I had returned to fake adult images. Um, ever since I suspect that ever since the Lord called me at the beginning of this time, when I was godless, He gave me the ability to turn away from flesh adult videos. It was he it was relatively easy to turn my back on that. It still is. I know that some men don't have this strength, and I give credit to the Lord. Ever when He first called me a little over 3 years ago now, in the moment at that time, I had something bad had happened, and in an immense amount, and in a moment of an immense amount of guilt, I turned my back on that. I felt like I needed to change, and that was one change that happened. And so I was able to turn my back on that. Although I still bump into it, but I don't indulge in it. And credit to the Lord for giving me that strength. And I'm not boasting or trying to be self-righteous, like, look at me, I can stay away from it. At the time I gave up all hope, I had returned to fake adult images. And by that I mean drawings. And there are other kinds, like computer generated, and now there's AI. Now there's AI. This topic is a big topic, and I think I'm going to dedicate a video or a message to it by itself. I also think that it may serve as an outlet for people that might need it. My ministry is mainly with gay people, and so they, if they turn their back on their sin and they still have desires, I suspect that fake or computer generated or even maybe AI adult content may be a reasonable outlet, as opposed to real flesh adult content, because real flesh adult content requires real people to sin. And I think that the alternative of fake adult content is a better option. But anyways, I'm getting into it, forgive me. Anyways, I was trying to be morally perfect, and I tried to justify fake adult content, but I just knew it wasn't up to the standard of perfection. So I would walk away, come back, and what ended up happening after back and forth, I got to a point where I was pleading with God, trying to justify it as like, trying to just justify it. Like, it's not real, like trying to justify it as a clean and acceptable thing. And I found that I just couldn't. And then I got painted into a corner. I got pushed back to the edge of the cliff, where I had to basically make the decision of give this up for God, or you're doomed. As I said, I was trying to be morally perfect. I think this was legalistic behavior, or trying to justify myself through myself, through good works, through the law, through my own law, or the law, my own righteousness. And in that moment, on January 1st, 2027, like in some agony, I realized in my heart that I did not want to give it up. I did not want to give it up. The desire for mating, this adult content, I did not want to give it up for God. And I just didn't want to give up my desire for mating. And in realizing that, like, I just realized that I felt like I'm doomed. Like, I realized I was doomed. I was doomed under my own righteousness. Like, I couldn't give up this thing for God. And so I just realized I would never, ever be able to be morally perfect, be righteous by my own efforts. And it was just a very, very clear thing that there was this sin, or this desire, that I was not willing to give up for God. And that's basically like, you're doomed. You're doomed, because God requires you to be perfect if you're going to be justified by your own righteousness. And I realized, like, I literally made the choice. Like, I can't give this up. I don't want to give this up. And it was a pretty rough moment. I want to call it agonizing, but I don't want to be like, I don't know, I don't want to like glorify myself, like, oh, well, I'm such a good person, look at how much this hurt me. But anyways, so in that moment of despair, I felt like I was falling into the darkness in my mind. And I realized in that moment, what it truly meant to have all your faith in Jesus Christ. Because I realized, like, there's no hope. I have absolutely no hope in being righteous. I have absolutely no hope to be saved. So, like, I remember thinking, like kind of like, just hang on to Jesus. Just, Jesus is the only hope. Like, I'm done. I'm doomed. Jesus is the only hope. And so that's when in like despair and hopelessness, I was like, I'm putting all my hope in Jesus. I have nothing. I have absolutely no hope in myself or in anything. And just all I have is the faith in Jesus. No other option. It's just like, there's no other hope. And I know that's the truth. And that's when I just gave up. I gave up on myself. I gave up on the world. I gave up on everything. And it's just like, it's just the salvation of the Father through Jesus Christ. And that's it. That's it. And so I think ever since that day, things began to change. I think I truly experienced, if you do not abide in me, what Jesus says, if you do not abide in me, you can do nothing. And I tell you, like, with earnest efforts, before then, I tried to do the will of God. I tried to do good things, good works. But I just couldn't. I never could. Yeah, I would always just try and it would fail, or it wouldn't be good enough, or something would happen. It would never, I could never, it says that you should bear good fruit and your fruit should abide. And it would just, anything I did just would not abide. But after that, and then more and more, and then more and more, and then it kind of started avalanching. Like, it went from just, I don't know, being able to do little things, I think, to like, and then all of a sudden big leaps, like into like public ministry, just like, yeah, just big leaps. All the way up to like going to West Hollywood to try to minister to gay people by myself at night, and it was pretty, it could have gotten dangerous a couple of times, but relatively dangerous. But anyways, yeah, like, but it was, yeah, just like up all the way to the point of trying to be and try to live in that place of being willing to surrender your life if need be. I don't want to, but I think if you're willing to go to the point of losing your life, and I mean, like, RIP, that's probably not, but yeah, you know what I mean. If you're willing, if you can go there, then everything else you can, like, becomes more manageable. But anyways, all of that happened after Jesus. And I believe truly, like, it's like you can't do anything without him. He has all authority, and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and that's why I've been able to do more and more. So I think that's about it for that portion of my testimony. There's more. I hope I've wisely chosen my words that won't get me censored on YouTube or whatever. My testimony has some dark parts to it, and I intend to publish them later. But I think that's it for this portion. Another reason why I want to do this is to just put myself out there for the church to judge, and yeah, just to judge me, and to just put myself out there into the fire of public scrutiny. I've had difficulty finding the church, the kingdom of God, true believers. I think who I'm looking for, and I see them out there, but they've got their own assignments and their own people they need to focus on and take care of. I don't know who I am destined to partner with and fellowship with, and I don't know who my crew is. Like, if this is the military, I don't know what team or platoon I belong in. But so anyway, that's why I'm putting myself out there, to hopefully find where I belong in the kingdom. And I want to personally go hard. No pulling punches. I don't want to be part of the church culture that I see that's soft and lukewarm and palatable. I want to be, there's the Abolitionist Rising. They do some good work, and they're out there, bearing the brunt of, like, public scorn. That's kind of the area I want to stay in. But my assignment is with gay people, so I'm gonna but I'm just looking for people that are willing to take the heat because I suspect that I also have other ministries that I need to target, and they're gonna be very unpopular. But anyways, I'm putting myself out there because in an effort to hopefully God will help me to, in this way or some kind of way, find the church or the team or just one single ally. I'm reminded of David and Jonathan, I believe, where they had this like union and loyalty. But who knows? I also know that my personality is pretty rough, so I don't know if through my own faults or through destiny I'm incompatible for such a thing. But I don't know, whatever, I don't care. Anyways, yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm putting myself out there. You know, in this war, or I like combat sports. And in combat sports, people that are on the same team, iron sharpens iron. And that's kind of where I want to go and where I want to stay as long as I can handle it. So that's why I'm doing this public thing, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm kind of looking for people. I'm looking for men Christian men who don't pull punches. There's these men that I've begun to, and I probably should listen to more, as Resilient, I believe. Jacoby, I can't remember the podcast name, but anyways, yeah, it's like fighters when they're part of a fight team, they scrap, they spar, and they make each other stronger in preparation for combat with the enemy. The military does it too. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for, but in the kingdom. I'm out here I'm a trial by fire. Like, I'm out here, I'm going to put this out, and I'm here to get messed up. I'm here to get lumped up. Take my lumps. But anyways, that's one of the reasons I'm here. And also, I don't know what God's plan is for me, if I will make it to old age, but I see in the Bible and in real life that most people, as they age, they become weak mentally, physically, almost spiritually. They become weak and jeopardized and vulnerable to their own sin and obviously to Satan. And you can see it. One of my favorite examples right now is Solomon. According to God, Solomon is the wisest person to ever exist. And at the end of his life, because of his foreign wives, he was making temples of worship to some abominations. Child sacrifice and mating sin. I can't say the words because I don't want to get censored, but very, very bad physical sin. And anyways, you can look it up. My point being is, if the wisest man who ever existed fell at the end of his life to these sins, like, if he wasn't strong enough for these sins, like, what hope do I have? So I believe that the right course of action, it's kind of like the military. It's like the old men when age takes you off the front lines. And then what you need is young men who are faithful to God to take up the mantle. And the young men have their place, but then there's like men in their 30s and 40s that are older and more seasoned with like restraint and wisdom and other things. I'm trying to shorten this video. Sorry, guys. And so I'm also looking for the men that I want. It seems very wise and essential for older people to have younger people, not too young. We don't want to be following babes. You don't want young leaders. but like maybe like 40 range, 50 range, where they're old enough to have wisdom, but young enough to kind of be able to fight back a little bit. So I'm looking for, hopefully I find people that will help me when I get weaker in old age as well. But you know what? Take that. Who knows how only God knows when when our time is up. So if that applies to somebody, look them up. Billy Graham, at the end of his life, he was supporting abortion. I'm not sure I should have said that word. But anyways, there's other examples. I think Abraham, once he got older, he had that event where he got too drunk after the flood. There just seems to be a weakness that comes with old age. So I think it's just wise to prepare for it. And this is the thought. This is the idea I've had to prepare for this. But anyways, I'm going on. I'll stop it here. And yeah. Thank you for your time. All glory to God. Glory to Jesus. And the Holy Spirit of glory. Okay. Thank you for your time. I love you. My name's Javier Redondo. All right. Love you. Bye.